Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Biblical Perspective for the last Saturday of May in 2022. It's Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have a great time in the Lord together. Grab a good cup of coffee. Come join me. I'm going to look at just a little bit of Scripture, but first I want to just covet your prayers today because we, of course, just returned from Tennessee. Had a great time with family up there. Had a birthday celebration with two of our grandchildren, Sophia and Hannah. Our oldest had birthdays. I had a great Bible study time with Tim and some of the men in a group that he's a part of. Listen, we just had a great, wonderful time. And when we got back home, Sue started feeling ill. Well, lo and behold, we found out our son-in-law Tim also was feeling ill. And lo and behold, yes, to make a long story short, Tim tested positive for COVID, even though he's had it. He had it really bad in the very first year with the first round of COVID. So he's already experienced that. But guess what? Here it comes again. Because now some of these new variants mean that even though you've had it, you may get it again. And so which one is it? Is it an Omicron BA1, BA2, BA3, 4? How many have you got now? 5? Wait a minute. Somebody said now we're up to 7. Who knows how many variants are out there. But late last night, Sue tested positive for COVID. So, hey, all of you folks that are part of my church that might be watching this video, that's right. I'll have to quarantine. Even though I don't have it yet, I will have to stay away from you tomorrow, and I will not be able to come preach live and in person at First Baptist Church. So we'll be working on that later today as well. Such are the days that we live in. We're also talking about how many of our relations all around this area have had COVID, have bounced back around and had it again. James Garzoni, congratulations. Your family seems to have gone through a second round of COVID as well. Listen, it's just the lay of the land these days. So listen, stay safe. Do the best you can to take care of yourself and your family in these days. In the meantime, let's think about what the Bible is revealing about what's going on around our world. Because if you haven't noticed, people are trying to use every calamity, every tragedy around us, not to pull us together and learn how to have a wonderful system of democratically elected people who are able to debate issues in a free society with free speech. No, they're not interested in that. There are groups ready to control you. The meetings in Davos this past week demonstrated that full-fledged, out of control World Economic Forum garbage to say, here's what we're going to do with you, whether you like it or not. And this is going on all the way to the halls of the White House here in the United States. In the headlines of this past week, we saw the words apocalyptic and apocalypse used to describe all kinds of things. Even the situation in the Southern Baptist Convention, for those of you who, like myself, are in a Baptist church, right on up to what kind of plans the president's administration are making for the future because they fear things are going to collapse all around us. I'm looking at the editorial page of the Epoch Times where Victor Davis Hanson has this wonderful quote: Americans are now entering uncharted revolutionary territory. The traditional bedrocks of the American system are dissolving. Well, isn't that just comforting news today? Well, when this system dissolves, that which we've been used to and we have supported for so long, what's going to take its place? Well, what's been forming all around us is this worldwide beast. And this beast is out for worldwide control. That worldwide control is going to be handled through some of the most powerful and richest men in the world. Now, we've looked at some of those already. One that we looked at is Elon Musk, who at times seems to be the richest person in the world. Number 2, right behind him, is the one we're going to deal with today. His name is Jeff Bezos. It really depends on which way the markets are going and whose resources are up or down in the markets as to which one of those is the richest. It's amazing that you could be so rich you could lose 30 or 40 billion dollars on paper and still be the richest person in the world. That's the kind of situation we're in right now. And so I want to introduce you to this horn of the beast, one of those that I think, I'm positive in my mind that Jeff Bezos is one of those 10 horns prophesied in Daniel chapter 7. And as we look at those 10 powerful people that run the world, you might say, but wait a minute, Jeff Bezos doesn't rule me. Listen, there are a lot of really good, if you want the videos with all the graphics and the pictures and everything else, there are a lot of good ones about Jeff Bezos out there. Matter of fact, I want to recommend a couple of those to you before we get finished. There's one that's about a year old entitled Why Jeff Bezos Owns Everything. It's by Magnates Media. And it's all about how Jeff really controls so much of the world. Now, you say, wait a minute, I thought he's retired. He stepped away from Amazon. Oh, no, he built that gigantic empire, very much like Bill Gates built the Microsoft empire, to provide him what he needs to take on his other objectives in the world. And that's bucket loads of money, financial power. And what has he done with that? Well, first of all, think about how Amazon, the company Jeff Bezos founded, that back in the mid-90s was just a place where you could buy and sell books. That was about it as it got started. How it evolved from that to what it is today. Today, Amazon is involved in practically everything. That's right. Just about everything you touch, everything you do, everything you need, everything you want. Amazon is somehow connected. They're even into the streaming movies, streaming services, even getting awards for that. They have their own studio. They have music streaming services. With Amazon, you've got a company that controls almost everything. Have you been up to someone's house, just like Matt and Libby at your house, where you step up to the front door and there's something right there called Ring? Oh no, that's not the old-fashioned doorbell that you push and it just makes a little ding in the house. Ring is a surveillance system that's watching you. And when the owners of the house aren't there, they can, if they like, even talk to you. Speak up and say, hey, what you doing on my front porch? Are you delivering something? Or, oh, you need to take that around back. Or, wait a minute, you're criminals. I've just called the police. They're on the way. Get off my property. And this wonderful system is now owned by, guess who? Amazon. But when we look at all the things Jeff Bezos has his hands in, he owns, from the media giant, the Washington Post, to even now pharmaceutical partnerships involved with Jeff Bezos. And Big Pharma is one of the biggest scandals in the entire world right now. Oh yes, Amazon's getting into that. When it comes to food, yes, you can get all your food, all your pantry items delivered to your doorstep. It was Amazon that swallowed up Whole Foods, and now of course says, hey, we got you covered. We got your pantry, and if you can't get things in your little town, which is something that happens here in Winsboro, South Carolina quite often, oh, don't worry, we'll deliver it to your doorstep. He's also a publisher for almost anyone now that does a book. I've got a number of my friends, some of you may be even listening. You published the book. What did you do? You uploaded the file to Amazon. It's for sale on Amazon. And if you're going to have a successful book, you've got to have it published, not just with your favorite little publishing company. Matter of fact, many of those companies have literally been abused by Amazon. And that's another whole story I could do a whole video on. But these publishers have just been trampled on by Amazon. If you're going to be successful, you've got to get your book on Amazon. But you know, the other thing that's so amazing is how this Amazon ecosystem now seems to run everything. One of the quotes from this particular video I just recommended to you is this. Look, once you're in your as far as the Amazon ecosystem, once you're in, you're unlikely to leave because everything is connected. And I'm not kidding. Everything is connected in the Amazon ecosystem. A great example of that is when we go to the Mercer's home there in Lebanon, Tennessee. Courtesy of Tim and some of that expertise, the home is hooked up and is as modern as possible. When you walk in the door, you can say, Alexa, and then whatever do you want at that point. Turn the lights on in the living room. Alexa, turn on the TV. Alexa, play. The last one I played when we were there, I said, Alexa, play Revelation song by Carrie Job. And what happens? Alexa puts music on, broadcasts it all over the house where you want. Yeah, all of a sudden, Alexa's doing everything for you. You can change this to where Alexa can be limited in what she can do, or can have the freedom that you can say, Alexa, we're out of dog food. Order that same bag we got last month. Okay, it's on the way, and Amazon will deliver it to you maybe as early as tomorrow. Listen, friends, this is what's happening. It's an ecosystem Jeff Bezos created, yes, to make himself rich, but also to have control over you. And how deep that ecosystem is going is also a scary fact. Amazon stores have been experimenting with what they see as the future of physical shopping, where you walk in and just identify yourself either by your phone or, hang on, your biometrics, your fingerprint and your facial scan, okay, or a retina scan. You go in with your face or your hand. Oh, is this sounding a little bit like Revelation 13? And you don't even have to pull out your wallet after that. You can go take things off the shelf, put them in a bag. The surveillance cameras see what you've bought. They even notice if you put something back, if you changed your mind, and you walk out of the store. They check it all out. It comes straight out of your Amazon account, your bill, your finances. It's going to be taken straight out of your bank account, however you've got arranged to pay for your Amazon bill. And you don't even have to go through a checkout line. This is what they see as the future of retail, already operating in several places. Doesn't that sound a little scriptural? Yes, it does. Who's behind it? A guy named Jeff Bezos. But you know, on top of that, he's not just happy with controlling the way you shop. Through Amazon Web Services, they control who is on the internet, because now they have such an overwhelming power and control over those things that take place on the web that almost anyone who gets involved, wants to have a big platform, big website, has to go through Amazon Web Services in one way, shape, or form. How many different people are involved in that? Well, when you look, I was trying to look at my notes here as to all the different people that, well, listen, here's the one you need to be concerned with the most. Do you know who provides the web services for the Central Intelligence Agency in the United States? Yes, the CIA. You'd think they'd have their own. Oh no, they use Amazon Web Services. Most famously, when one particular platform named Parler wanted to give a conservative alternative to what was going on some of the other networks where conservative and conservative Christian views were routinely being squashed and censored, immediately that particular platform ran into a problem because Amazon Web Services was their provider. And what happened to Parler? They summarily said, we don't like what you're putting out on the web. You support the orange guy, that was president that we can't talk about, can't mention his name anymore, or your video might get squashed. Yes, him, you've got too much of, and too many of his followers. We don't like what you're doing. So they pulled the plug. Parler had to find another way to get back into the swing of things. It took them a long time. They've never come back to be what they started out to be when their platform was established, all because Amazon had such power and control over the internet. Oh, friends, they not only have power over that, but as long as you're in Prime, you're a Prime member with Amazon. By the way, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. You do what you have to survive these days. For some of you, this is the only way you're going to get stuff delivered to your house, and you've got to have that happen these days. But if you're a Prime member, you realize Amazon will do everything for you, from managing your photos to delivering your groceries. But one of the big things about this is the efforts that Jeff Bezos has made to connect all the dots. And one of the ways he's doing this is through artificial intelligence. Yes, he's one of those working on the AI systems, including the one for AI facial recognition software, so that it can be used not just through Amazon's little systems to sell you stuff, but that so law enforcement can have it to use to capture criminals. That's right. Did you know that the number one target of the AI facial recognition system is law enforcement? And these folks are, enlisting our law enforcement agencies and pulling them into that to use AI so that there's no place you can hide, quite literally. Police departments all across our country are even recommending Ring as the best security system for your home. So now Jeff Bezos has the very people that are supposed to keep the peace for us, our law enforcement officers, recommending his services so that he makes money off of that, all because these systems are so tied together. How far is this going? It's going so far that Amazon is even working on artificially intelligent robots for your home. Yes, that's on the way as well. As one person has said, there is nothing in the world that Amazon is not involved in. But it's not just in the world, it's out of this world. Friends, as we look at what Jeff Bezos has been doing, and one of the reasons he wanted to finally retire from the board of Amazon itself so he could do some other things, is he has a focus very much like Jeff Bezos has a focus that's very much like Elon Musk, and that's a focus on outer space. He seems to think this is what we've really got to be concerned with. So he is the head of something he started with his own money, very much like Elon Musk started SpaceX. He started a company called Blue Origin. Blue Origin has already been launching rockets into space, has already put some people up around the planet to have that experience. Both of those men are headquartered with their space jobs, I guess you could call them. Their space companies are located in the state of Texas. Yes, a lot of big open land where you can have the freedom to do this without a lot of government interference, and it's working for both of them. They make NASA look sad and scary. NASA will take on a project, and it may take them 2 decades to do it with billions of dollars of overrun. But instead, now we've got great free enterprise working so that Jeff Bezos, who is he's an expert at hiding money from the government and not paying taxes. He's able to shift this money into all kinds of other things, including Blue Origin. So yes, we're talking about getting into space, very much like what SpaceX is doing. Amazon is also launching satellites. The sheer number of satellites circling our planet today is increasing almost weekly, to where as Amazon sends up more satellites, SpaceX sends up more satellites, that we've got more and more of these up there. Now, why do we have to have so many of those? Well, it's so that you can sit home like you're doing right now and have satellite internet service. So you can have your GPS to work everywhere, so that you can have something else Amazon is now heavily involved in. You can have a driverless vehicle. Yes, did you realize that if you follow the vision for some of the horns of this beast, within 10 years, your car may not have a steering wheel? You'll just get into it and say, and you might even tell Alexa, maybe Alexa will be in charge of your car. You might say, Alexa, take me down to Walmart. Which one? Well, and then you have to say which city, which town. If you say Winsboro, South Carolina, she'll say there is no Walmart in Winsboro, South Carolina. So, but you'll have to be able to just let your vehicle know where you want to go, and it'll take you there. Much of the delivery that you're concerned with today, where, sometimes we have problems with delivery drivers. We've had twice now delivery drivers come into our driveway here at the parsonage of First Baptist Church and run into the basketball goal. I don't even fix it anymore. I just go down to the gym to play, because, sometimes they do that. We've had a delivery driver that ran into the backyard to try to turn around, didn't realize it was too soggy, messed up our yard. Do you have problems with delivery drivers? Don't worry about it. Before long, there will be no drivers. Already, Amazon is the company that's working with so many cities now, experimenting on what they say is the future, where your goods will be delivered by a driverless robot, or in some cases a drone that will fly it to your front doorstep. Folks, this used to be the stuff of science fiction, and now it's actually happening all around us. Courtesy of who? I believe one of the horns of the beast, Jeff Bezos, who is now running so many things in your life that you are not even aware of. He's involved in not only all the stuff that needs to go to your house, but even the payment systems that you use to pay for it with. Well, in light of all of that, they even want to say they want, for example, to help you out with so many different areas of your life, especially when it comes even to your nonprofit, your charity. Does your church or your nonprofit have a spot in smile.amazon.com? Hey, ours does. We get a check every quarter. How do we get a check from Amazon? We'll see all of our church members that will go, or any of our friends, any of our supporters that will go to smile.amazon.com. And when it asks what charity would you want this little donation to go to, if you search and find, say, Winsboro, South Carolina First Baptist Church, we're listed there among nonprofits, you can punch that line in. And what happens? Every time you spend money at Amazon, doesn't cost you any more, but Amazon will donate a 0.05% of whatever you spent. And they will send that check quarterly to your favorite charity. Isn't that cool? Of course it's cool. Everybody wants some money for whatever their favorite cause is, but it's just one more hook in this Amazon system that makes sure that you are not going to back out of it because you love it so much. It's just a part of that control that comes with this end time beast. And of the people that are most concerned with it, we looked previously at one of those horns of the beast, which I believe is Xi Jinping, the dictator of Red China. Who is Amazon most heavily connected with? Well, if you start shopping, especially for some of those things that seem to be so ridiculously cheap. They're cheaper if you get them from these other companies versus the ones that might be making their stuff in America. Where's all that stuff coming from? You'll find out it's China. Oh, China loves Amazon because Amazon is their conduit for all kinds of goods to flow around the world and come right to your doorstep at least what you think is a bargain price. But as we look at what's going on here, especially with Jeff Bezos' interest in space control, the satellites that are being put all around us, everything he's doing right now is about setting up this new world order that lines up completely with what the World Economic Forum was talking about this week. This new world that'll arise after we tear down this wicked old world that we don't like. That's why your gas prices are so high. Our president told us we're having a transition time this week where we're just going to begin changing things. It's going to be painful for a while. Yeah, oh no, all this inflation, all this other stuff that's happening, you just got to deal with it, my friends, because we're taking you to a brave new world, and you're going to be glad when you get there. You'll own nothing and be happy. At least that's what they keep telling you. Oh, friends, listen, one of the rocket ships that's blasting off, taking us to that brave new world, is piloted by a man named Jeff Bezos, who's using all his power, his influence in media, in the mass of all the things that you use, the stuff that makes up life. He's using all of this power to help take us to that world he envisions that we should be in. Listen, there's some more videos out there you can look at. Real Life Lore has one entitled The Insane Wealth of Jeff Bezos Visualized. You want to have a picture of how much money what it looks like to have that much money if you could physically get it in your hands. No, there's not that much money printed in the world, but if you could and you could visualize it, that's an interesting video. And another one is a grunge video that's out entitled The Dark Truth about Jeff Bezos. It talks about just the atmosphere of almost slavery in some places where Amazon controls markets and what it's like to have to work in their warehouses. Some folks not having the ability because of the ridiculous parameters put on what they've got to accomplish their goals, that they don't even have time to go to the bathroom. And some folks have talked about how they have to pee in a bottle. So I can't make this stuff up, folks, because you don't have time to go to the bathroom working in some of the Amazon warehouses. So, check out some of those videos and you can see what's happening. But I think to sum it all up, one of the shorts in which Jeff Bezos himself answers questions is so revealing. He said, people ask me what's going to change in the next 10 years. My ears perk up and think, hey, Jeff, what do you think? What do you think is going to change in the next 10 years? And he deflects that by saying, no, the most important question is what's not going to change in the next 10 years. That's the most important question, because that's why we will always stay strong as a company, because people will always want a better price on services. They will always want something delivered as quickly as possible. He doesn't envision a time in which people will say, Jeff, can you make it a little slower for that stuff to get to me that I ordered from Amazon? No. That's not going to change. And because of that, if you control the systems, if you control the prices and the delivery methods, then you will have much more to do than the others who don't seem to grasp those truths. So what's not going to change? This demand, this insatiable demand we have to get the best stuff for the lowest price as quickly as possible delivered to our door, even to the point of having our security services, our very lives, because of all the information we're giving them, handed over to powerful people just like Jeff. Wow, looks a lot like Revelation 13, doesn't it? When it said that everyone would have to receive some kind of mark, something was in their hand or their head, so that they could buy or sell, participate in society. Are we already there? Have you already been somewhere where they had to read your face or take your fingerprint or even examine the little chip, the little rice-sized chip that has been inserted below your skin? Have you already been there, done that? Many people around the world are already walking in that reality. It's Scripture coming to pass right in front of our eyes. And who's one of the key players in that scenario? It's a guy named Jeff Bezos, a fellow that I believe is absolutely one of the horns of the end-time beast. Well, thanks for joining me today. God bless you, each and every one. We'll look at a new candidate for this. We'll try horn number 6 next Saturday. Come and join us. But in the meantime, I know some of you have asked if I'm going to cover some of these other issues that have popped up, and I'm going to have to do just that. Going to have to spend some time giving you some bonus biblical perspectives on what's going on in the Southern Baptist Convention and other things going on in the world. So I'll be making extra videos this week because so much stuff is happening, my friends. Jesus is coming. I hope you're ready. God bless you. I'll see you again next week as we wake up in the Word and have more on the biblical perspective.